evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to one of the biggest days in Sim500 history, and definitely by far one of the biggest days of the season. It's pole day at Daytona International Speedway, and here's how things are going to work today. We'll have 10 cars line up on pit road. We'll do 6 groups of 10. One car will head out at a time. They'll get one timed lap here at Daytona International Speedway to try and lock their way into the big show next Monday. Top 2 are the only 2 that are locked in. Everybody else goes to the duels and will try to race their way in, including myself. Joey Jattina will be talking with us here shortly, and John Mushing going to be on the microphone today as well. Got a lot of stuff going on here today at the Sim Racing Network. So glad you've tuned in with us. Go ahead and share this video with your friends and family. Let them know how you're spending your Sunday afternoon watching the top drivers in all of sim racing try and make their way in to Daytona here in Sim500 Transervice Cup Series live right here on the Sim Racing Network. Again, so glad you've tuned in with us. You see the cars start to line up down pit road, and here's how the first group lineup is looking as it sits right now. Timothy Johnston will go out first in that number 28. Sean Boundy will go out second. Third will be Kevin Brown. Fourth to Justin Fuller. Mitch Rollo will be in the 96. Sean Casto in the 52. Jimmy North will roll off 7th in the 48th. Jason Barham in the 83. Chad Cole. And then David Comstock will be this 10. And here comes the first qualifier of the day. It's the number 28. This is Timothy Johnston as he heads to the racetrack, heads to the high banks, and tries to build up speed here early on at Daytona. It's a big task going first, and we're going to see how well he does here as he heads down the back straightaway. So here we go, John. Johnston out on the first on the racetrack. He'll get the green flag right here. A lot of pressure going as the first driver here at Daytona. He goes down to the yellow line there. Here we go. We're now officially on the clock and underway for qualifying. Johnston down the back straightaway, really looking good here early on, topping out at about 187-ish miles an hour. Good arc down into turn number 3. We're going to see many different lines over the course of this afternoon. Johnston being the first one on the racetrack. Everybody going to be studying his line. We'll see what he puts down as he heads down the front straightaway, crosses onto the apron at the line. Johnston going to put down a 48.406, and Sean Boundy is the next car in the 34 on the racetrack. He's up to the top of the racetrack, up against a safer barrier, building up speed on his outlap as he gets set to head to the green flag off turn number 4 to start his qualifying effort here at Daytona. Boundy heads out on the clock for the number 34 as he races down into turn number 1. Boundy real wide on the back straightaway, almost up by the concrete here at Daytona. He arcs it down into 3. Very small wheel movement on that number 34. One of the best super speedway drivers in the business is Sean Boundy, and he heads to the front straightaway this time by. We'll see what he's going to have on the clock. Boundy at the line is going to put down a 48.390. 48.390. That puts him quickest so far here at Daytona.
That's a good-looking car Boundy's got there, Ben.
It certainly is. Boundy in the 34 completing his qualifying effort. Up next, here comes the number 93. in that Sim Racing Network Ford Fusion. He's on the clock now as he heads down into turn number 1, John.
That's a good-looking car right there, Ben. I tell you what, these guys have put a lot of effort into their cars for the Daytona 500, and we're going to see the similar line a bunch of these guys run there, Ben, trying to get that speed built up for their first lap. But this is his outlet right here, isn't it?
Nope, he is on the clock. You get one time lap, John. You first time by, you get the green flag. Next time by, you get the checkered. And look at Brown's line down the back stretch. He kind of keeps it low.
Yeah.
Maybe I mentioned various different lines, and people probably at home saying, well, this is Daytona. There's not too many different lines you can take. Let me tell you, every little bit of wheel movement, every bit of real estate that you use counts. Brown, a little rough patch over the apron there, and he'll put down a 48.453. That's good for third, 48.453. So not going to lock himself into the race. He'll have to go dual racing here at Daytona. Up next on the racetrack is the number 11 of Justin Fuller. He heads across the line, and he is on the clock.
And he's got a similar line of what Brown ran a minute ago, kind of down low there. Going to keep it down as low as he can. Like you said a minute ago, every little bit of wheel movement, every piece of real estate you use really affects your line and affects your speed on this track. And, man, look at that. Boy, he's just trying to keep it down as low as he can right there.
He's about midway up the back stretch there, John, and he'll arc it down into 3. That's a good-looking number 11 Camaro that he's got with the Gas Monkey and Aveline paint scheme there, the green and white. A fantastic-looking car. We're going to see some great paint schemes today. Justin Fuller off of turn number 4. He'll head down across the stripe, complete his one and only lap, and we'll see if it's good enough to lock him in. No, 48.414 for Justin Fuller. So still, John Bounty, Timothy Johnston, the two that are locked into the show. And up next on the racetrack is the 52 of Sean Casto.
Yep, here we go with Sean's run. A lot of these names we've been talking about for weeks with this group of Sim500 drivers. Like you said at the top of the show, these guys are all excellent drivers, really, really good at what they do here. Looking forward to watching these guys qualify today.
Biggest race of the season, biggest race of the year, the biggest and most tense day probably you'll see all season in Sim 500 Cup Series, and we get it started out here in qualifying. The duels come tomorrow right here live on the Sim Racing Network. Everybody knows the Joe Gibbs Racing Off-Season Sim Series come to a conclusion, and we pick right back up on Monday nights with the Cup Series here at Sim 500. That's what you're watching qualifying of right now here at Daytona. Single car qualifying, 60 drivers are set to take a time. Here is Sean Casto as a driver on the racetrack now in that Speed Energy Camaro. Another good-looking machine as he heads through 3 and 4. Trying to see what his time is going to be off corner number 4 here and see what he's going to put down for his qualifying effort. Time to beat and to lock yourself into the show is a 48.406, and Casto not going to do it, a 48.446 for the 5-2, for the 52 rather. Next driver, here comes the 83. This is Jason Barham.
I tell you what, Jason has got a slick-looking race car right there, huh?
That he does.
Really high coming to that turn.
Yeah, you'll see these guys down almost flirting with that safer barrier. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one driver get into the safer barrier over the course of today. Barham in that camouflage orange and black kick-ass beef jerky Camaro as he works his way down into turn number 1. Driver real confident about his efforts here this afternoon as he works his way through the banking down in 1 and 2. We'll see what his line is down the back stretch. He takes another one of those kind of high exits, middle of the racetrack to get the good arc down into turn number 3.
Tell you what, I'm speechless at some of these guys, the way they're so close to the line on one lap, so close to the outside wall on the next lap, and they only got the one lap. That's what really blows my mind there. I've never done the big time qualifying, Ben, to be completely honest with you. I'm kind of a spectator on this whole ride right here.
Oh, Barham right there
got
over
real
the
loose right there.
line. Got a little crossed up, and it kind of shows on his effort there. 48.452, 48.452 for the 83. Chad Cole up on the racetrack next. New addition to Crossover Motorsports, just announced, runner-up in last season's championship efforts. Chad Cole works his way down into corner number 3, and we'll see what he's going to put down for his lap. And if this is his out lap, Johnny's working his way around the bottom.
Yeah, I was just about to comment on
Scratch that. It's this is his green lap. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Getting a little crossed up.
Crossover.
lot of action. Side. Yeah, there you go. A lot of action going on here, and trying to keep up with it all is a little hectic at points, but nonetheless, 48.406, time to beat to lock yourself into the show. We'll see what Chad Cole has off turn number 4. Down to the line. Can Cole put himself in at Daytona, or does he race in the duels tomorrow? Close to 48.433, 48.433. Not close enough, no. Here comes one of the fastest drivers in Sim500 competition. He's going to be a threat all season long. It's the number 42 of David Comstock.
And I'm watching his line now. He's on the clock right here. And down low, like we've seen this whole time, kind of mid to high right there, going down into 1, then kind of smooth little arc down there. What you don't want to do here, Ben, is touch that yellow line on your time lap, because that's going to definitely slow you down, possibly loosen you up like we saw earlier.
Absolutely. As you see Comstock work through 1 and 2. Wow, he really shot up the racetrack off turn 2 there, John, and you see the drivers do that. It's all about keeping that wheel as straight as possible. You don't want to have that thing crank to the left too much coming off of turn 2. That's why you see them swing all the way up to let the car straighten itself out. Any wheel movement, every small wheel adjustment, every small piece of real estate, like I said earlier, on this racetrack will affect your qualifying effort. And here comes Comstock across the line. Oh, close, but no cigar for the driver of the 42. 417, 48417 for the 42. Up next on the racetrack, here comes the defending champion in this series. It's the 96 of Mitch Rollo, and he is now on the clock.
Our very own Mitch Rollo, our producer most of the time, but he's out there wheeling it today, man. And I like what you touched on earlier, keeping that wheel momentum movement down. What that does, folks, is just like in real life in this sim, that creates friction between your tires on the pavement there, and that's going to slow you down. That's something you don't want to do. So, like Ben said, you'll see these guys try to keep movement down to a bare minimum to try and keep that momentum up, that speed up as they come out the turn.
Absolutely. And John, while we watch Rollo's lap, he does. We'll bring Sean Boundy up, who's made his way up into the broadcast booth. Currently sits on the pole. Sean, how you feeling about that 391?
I'm not feeling very good about it at all, to be honest.
Really? I'm surprised, man. We've had some guys already taking shots at it, and nobody's come even close to it.
Well, we went into final practice, and I ran 2 consistent 3.8s and then 2 consistent 3.7s in practice the other week. And I got off pit road, shifted into second, and I put the gear in third, waiting to do the quick shift, and I made a mental mistake and dropped it into fourth before I made third, coming up to speed. And as soon as I realized I wasn't going anywhere, I had to go back to third and get the RPMs up, and did everything I could to salvage that. So I know there's a little bit of time left out there, and I know there's a couple guys. I'm especially looking at Trey Edson as being one of those guys that is going to take advantage of that mistake.
Well, we had a guy having a really great lap there, Mitch Rollo, our own guy, Mitch, but he messed up coming on 3 and 4 just now. Ben, I was watching speed. He lost almost 5 mile an hour coming out of 3 and 4. Not real sure what happened there, so he didn't do too well. He brought it in, I believe, currently 5th, but Jimmy North's got a pretty good lap going right now, and Jimmy's going to bring it in 48.4, not even close. Man, I tell you what.
Yeah, 4.56 for North as we continue on with qualifying. Sean, thanks for chatting with us. Wish you luck and the best of the rest of the day. You don't have to do anything but now sit and watch on the edge of your seat.
Well, I came out, first 2 out, so I got a long day of waiting.
Yeah,
It's a
you
big
do.
That you
lineup
do.
of guys waiting to pounce, so I'm going to be sitting here nervous for quite a while.
How'd you
Made
get
it
that
through the
damage on the
first
left
round.
front there, Sean?
Say again?
How did you get that damage on the left front of your car? I noticed you had some damage during your qualifying run.
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Oh, all righty
May have
then.
been a graphical issue on Mushkin's computer there. Sean, thanks for chatting with us. We'll catch up with you later. Hopefully, we'll talk to you after locking yourself into the top
Guys, have a
two.
good one. Enjoy the show.
There you have it. Sean Boundy currently on the pole for Daytona as we line up group number 2 on the racetrack. Now as we'll see if we can chat with anybody that's currently in TeamSpeak. Let's chat with the driver of the 42. Johnny put down a 48.417. Wasn't good enough for the top 2, but nonetheless looking like he's going to be lined up good for the duels come tomorrow. David Comstock makes his way up to the booth to chat with us. David, didn't quite get to the top 2, but looking for a good starting position in the duels and looking to start the season off right tomorrow, maybe by winning one of those duels.
Yeah, hopefully we can, get out there, have a teammate or two or a couple of good buddies, to work along with and, work in the draft and hopefully, we can have a chance to maybe progress, maybe a row or two. I don't think we're not going to be front row, obviously. So try to just ensure a good starting spot for the main race and have a good pit selection.
Going to be a long day of sit and wait now as we have 50 more competitors set to qualify. Do you know what you did wrong there on your lap, or did it feel perfect to you?
It felt fine. I was real steady through the corners on the straightaways and everything, just trying to just be as smooth as possible, coming through the gears as well, just hitting everything like I had done in practice. So maybe just caught a gust of wind, at the wrong time. But other than that, everything was as a typical procedure.
Well, there you have it. RacingBiz.com on the quarter panel. Going to look good in the duels tomorrow night. We look forward to chatting with you then, maybe after finishing top 3 in one of those things.
Yeah, hopefully. Sounds good. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and hope you guys enjoy the show.
Good deal. There you have it. David Comstock currently sits 4th in qualifying efforts as group number 2 now on the racetrack. Here comes the 51. Nick Timms will be the first out of this group in that Ford Fusion Hitman racewear. Number 51, he works down the back straightaway and down into turn number 3 as he gets set to start his season off, hopefully with a top 2 qualifying effort at Daytona. While we do that, another driver has made his way to the broadcast booth. It's the driver who currently sits, well, I know he doesn't want to hear this, but 10th on the boards. That's the 48 of Jimmy North. How's race trim feeling in that car, Jimmy? Practice for the duels tomorrow night. You going to come to the front?
Yeah, no doubt. Qualifying wasn't too well for us. It's kind of been that way all week. We've been out practicing, running some laps, kind of lacking some speed on qualifying, but more race trim, and we'll get out there in the duels tomorrow night and see what we can do.
Good deal, buddy. We wish you the best of luck tomorrow night. And if I'm around you in the duels, just watch out because Daytona's not my best track. Jimmy North currently sitting 10th on the board. Not the qualifying effort he was wanting today, but nonetheless looking pretty good. Feeling pretty good about his race trim. Nick Timms goes to 2nd on the board and has locked himself into the show. Just like that, he spins up the racetrack to get off the racetrack. And here comes the next driver, the number 32, Shane Ewing, as he works his way off of corner number 4. We'll see if we can get now the new driver that is locked in to the top 2, and he wasted no time making his way up to the booth. Nick Timms with a 395 has now currently locked himself into the big show. Nick, how do you feel about that 48.395? Is it going to stick?
I don't know if it's going to stick. I think there's some heavy hitters coming up later in the show, but just really proud of this Hitman Racewear team and We worked hard on it for the past couple weeks, just trying to put together a good lap, and looks like it paid off for us.
Well, it paid off at least for now. You've got 48 or so left to qualify, so I know it's going to be a hectic day, and wish you the best of luck over the course of the run. I know it's going to be hard sitting in that seat and watching every car go by the start-finish line.
Absolutely, but I appreciate it, guys, and looking forward to see what happens.
There you go. Nick Timms currently sits second. He's locked in, at least for now. And Shane Ewing, a good qualifying effort there. 48.414 puts him up to fifth on the board so far. And up next on the racetrack, the 44 in that Transervice Toyota Camry. He's on the clock. It's Glenn Campbell, as Campbell works his way around turn number 1 and 2. Let's see if we can bring in the defending champion of the Transervice Cup Series. Mitch Rollo currently sitting 7th on the board. Not a lot of qualifying speed in that Sim Solutions Ford Fusion, but race trim looking pretty good, or feeling pretty good for tomorrow night in the duels, Mitch.
Yeah, it's feeling good in race trim. Not a lot of qualifying speed in the car last couple weeks with the practices, so honestly I kind of expected this. I kind of expected this as far as qualifying went, but I think we're gonna be good when it comes to the duels tomorrow night, and then next week on Monday we'll be good for the Daytona 250.
There you have it. Mitch Rollo sits now 8th on the board and trying to hold on to every position possible as we get the next car up on the racetrack. It's Chad Coltman in the 20, and he's on the clock.
I tell you what, I'm surprised, Ben, that these guys are getting down below that apron coming off of 4 like that. That to me slows you down a little bit. I wonder if we can, have we seen anybody that I can't recall, but have we seen anybody just keep it up on top of that apron and without touching it?
I don't think we have yet, so I'll be interested to see if anybody does. By the way, if anybody was keeping tabs on Glenn Campbell, he rolled in 6th there in the 44. So good qualifying effort, 48.416 for Campbell. Now on the racetrack, Chad Coleman, and off of turn number 4, he heads down to the apron, crossing the stripe, 48.383.
Got the pole.
That's pole time for Chad Coleman here in the second group of qualifying. Boy, oh boy, how about that for Coleman putting it on the pole. Up next on the racetrack will be Brian Chambliss. That bumps Nick Timms out, puts Sean Boundy on the bubble. For drivers locked in to the show, Chad Coleman. We're going to talk with him as he's worked his way down to our booth here on pit road. Chad Coleman has put down quick time, 48.383. How's that feeling for you, Chad? Do you think that time's going to stick over the course of these next 40 or 45 or so cars?
Yeah, I think it'll be solid. I think it'll probably put us somewhere in the top 5 or 6. But I don't think it'll hold. I think this thing's probably got a low 7 in it, like a 370 or 375 or something like that. I don't know what I could have done to go any quicker right there. I mean, I got through the gears good, hit my line pretty good, but it's off of about 100 from what I ran in practice.
Off 100, still going to put you at least for now on the pole, though, Chad. That's going to feel good early on here as we're almost 20 cars into this deal, almost a third of the way through. As
off
next
100th, he said.
Yeah, off 100th. Every 1,000th could be the determining factor of if you're in the show or not. Chad, we wish you luck over the rest of qualifying, and if you do get bumped out, we'll look forward to seeing you in the duels tomorrow night.
Yep, thanks, guys.
There you have it. Chad Coleman currently on the pole here at Daytona. And John, one of the faster drivers all testing long, all practice long, I should say, is this number 30 of Daniel Falkingham. He's going to be a force to be reckoned with all season long, a top competitor in the Winter Sunday Cup Series, and he is a favorite for the pole here today off of turn number 4. Down to the stripe. Can the 30 of Falkingham put down a quick time? He doesn't. My. One of the favorites going to put down a 4.11. That's good for 5th in the number 30.
Like I said, we touched on a minute ago, and I want to know what you're going to do for your qualifying run. But getting down below that line, in my mind, has always slowed me down. Maybe I was wrong, but right there, the 5. The 5 was on his outlap. Okay, I was going to say he's down on that. He was above the line coming by that time to the tri-oval, but we'll see. I guess I've never had a pole at Daytona, so that might explain a lot.
I certainly don't expect to get the pole. I'll be surprised if I make top 10. And yes, you mentioned you don't know what I'm going to do on my qualifying lap. Neither do I. I tested a lot of things in practice. Nothing really works for me. Maybe I just don't have a heavy enough foot for Daytona. Maybe I'm not calm enough to hold the wheel as straight as I need to be. As Bobby Terrell going to head across the stripe this time by in that number 5, 48.446, 48.446 for Terrell. All right, John, I'm going to let you take over. I've got to head down and get ready for my qualifying effort. Good luck up here in the booth, and boy, let's do it. Daytona.
All right, Ben, well, maybe buckle it up, wrap yourself in there real good and tight, and give us a good lap, bud. Meantime, folks, we got the next group of drivers lining up on pit road here. And while we get these guys staged up, we'll go ahead and... is Joey going to come up in the booth with me here, Aaron, or are we just going to do this by myself? Well, folks, it's a beautiful day here at Daytona in iRacing, but not so much in the real world. I've got the Clash on TV, and it's foggy and rainy over there right now, so we lucked out with some good weather today. We've got a great group of cars heading on to the track for the next round. I tell you what, Coleman put down a 383. That's 48.383 for that pole. Compared to Bounty's .390, and they're both saying that they had more speed in the car, which is amazing to me. I tell you what, I would like to see if we can get anybody that's going to stay above that yellow line. We were talking about it earlier, Ben and I, before he went down. In my experience, I've never gone below that double yellow line because hitting that thing slowed me down. I thought definitely makes you lose coming down through there. But these guys have all found their speed down there somehow. But I tell you what, this is going to be some fun right here. And they're still getting everybody lined up on pit road for the qualifying runs here. Got another group of 10 coming out. I think Ben said earlier we have 50-something cars doing this today, so it's not over till it's over. And Coleman's probably paying attention to this, watching this. Sean Bounty's probably up there watching this. These two guys, if they stay like they are right now, they'll be the only ones actually locked into the big race, the Daytona 250 as we call it. The rest of these guys will come back for the duels tomorrow, and the way they're going to run that is everybody today that finishes on the even numbers will start in one race, and then the odd numbers will start in the next race, and that's going to set the running order for the rest of the field besides our two front row runners there for the big race. So we're still waiting for race control to cut these guys loose and start their runs, and while we do that, we'll probably just take a real quick commercial break here.
All right, Watson, let's analyze the chemicals in this cigarette smoke. Cadmium?
Check.
Formaldehyde?
Check.
Arsenic?
Sir, isn't arsenic what they used in rat poison?
Yeah, isn't arsenic rat poison?
Oh, what was I thinking, sir? It's not like we're gonna smoke them.
Neither will the rats.
Tobacco is no joke. Cigarette smoke has over 7,000 chemicals. Learn more at thefactsnow.com.
And welcome back to Daytona 250 qualifying. Our next guy on track looks like it's going to be Scott Simley. He's rolling out now to get ready for his warm-up lap, or his out lap, as Ben likes to call it. We'll see him probably take a nice high line. He's got to stay off that wall, though. Don't want to lose any kind of momentum at all. And basically, the way you want to do it, you get through your gears as quick as you can without spinning your tires, and you definitely want to try and get up to that crucial third gear as quick as possible. That's where all your speed's really built up, and then pop it into fourth. And you want to do all that without spinning the wheels or getting up against the wall and all kinds of stuff. They kind of got their hands full. I know it looks easy out there, but these guys have to be real careful on how they do that. So here we go. Simley's coming out of 2 now, heading down the backstretch for his out lap. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is out lap. You're right. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, and he is coming down through out of 4 now through the tri-oval. This is it. He's on the clock right now, and he's got a nice smooth exit that tri-oval. He's going to arc it up just a little bit, then arc it right back down, going through turn 1 here. Looking real good. He's doing about 184, which is to be expected. Loses a little bit of speed through the turns. He wants to get as close as he can in that WO line without touching it, because that's definitely going to slow him down to a 182 coming out of the turn 2 there. So he lost a little bit of speed now. His target for hitting turn 3 is about 186, 187 is what we've seen from the guys that are on the pole in second place right now. And he's looking real good right now, going down into 3 right there. Coming through 3, he's going to cut it down just enough to that. That's a good-looking car, by the way. That Snickers car looks real good with some flames on it there. Coming out of 4, coming down to the short right here into the tri-oval. And he is going to put up a 484. It's not too good. That's way down at the bottom of the list, actually, believe it or not. So that's it for Scott. Next up on the track is going to be another good-looking Camry, Brian Wertman. Brian is he's got a lot of work cut out for him here. He's also driving a real beautiful Interstate Batteries car, throwback scheme it looks like there. So here comes Brian now. See, he got down that yellow line right there, folks. Yeah, loosened him up. He's going to lose a lot of speed now. Coming through the tri-oval, going into 1 for his hot lap. His green lap, I should say, his time lap there. Yeah, he kind of hurt himself when he touched that line right there. That's what I was talking about. When you hit that thing like that, it loosens that car up, and you lose a lot of time. Like Ben touched on earlier in the show, you want to keep your wheel as straight as you possibly can. No extra movement. No jerking on the wheel at all. It really slows you down. So he hurt himself with that little bit of a bobble right there. So here he comes through 3 and 4. He's going to come down here and head on down to that tri-oval, and we'll see what he gets for a time. And he pulls in a 48.441, which actually wasn't too bad at all. He puts him about 13th on the list. That's not too bad. So our next driver on track is Steve Ritter in that 16 car. That's a bright orange and blue. That's a good looking car right there. He's on the clock now, coming down to the tri-oval. He's running about 184, 185 right there. That's not too bad. Hits that turn 1 at 185. Going to keep it right down on that yellow line right there. Try and keep as much speed as you want through turns 1 and 2. Coming down through 3 and 4, and real good speed coming in there. And the 3 right there almost hit 188. That's not bad at all. And he's keeping up the speed pretty good. Don't want to get down too low. And like I said, touch that double yellow line. It's going to speed, but then he's going to throw it down here onto the apron, coming off of 4 right before the tri-oval. And he's going to give us a 48.411, which is the same speed as Daniel Falkingham earlier, somebody we thought was a favorite for the pole. That puts him inside the top 10, but not good enough for the first or second spot there. Next car on track is Anthony M. Calantoni in that beautiful red, white, and blue 84 car, VFW sponsored. Little patriotic scheme going on there. So Anthony's got a really good looking lap going here. He had his top backstretch speed, I guess is the term I'm looking for. 186, almost 187 coming down through 3 and 4. Gonna lose a little bit of speed right there. I don't know if he bobbled or what, but here he comes down to the tri-oval, and we'll see what he get here. And he's one of the first cars I've seen do that. He stayed up above that double yellow line, brings in 48.452. Not quite good enough to get him up there in the top 2. So let's see. Next car on track is gonna the 00. It looks like of our own Ben Gilcrease. Here he goes. That is a bright car Ben's driving. Looking real good up there. Right up against that wall like we talked about. Trying to get as much speed as he can. That's the It Gets Better project car. The 00 Ford Fusion. Looking real good right there. Trying to get as much speed built up as he can going down that back stretch. Coming through 3 and 4 before he takes that green flag run. Right up against that wall. Doesn't touch it at all. That's looking real good right there. Coming down to the tri-oval now. Still going to try and keep it up high before he cuts it back down to the inside right here, coming across the line. And here's up. He got on that double yellow line right there, like I talked about earlier with Wortman. But, you know, it didn't hurt Wortman too bad. So let's see what Ben can do with it. He's got about 185 right there going into turn 1 and 2. He's going to keep it right snug down on there, that double yellow line right there. Try to keep his momentum as much as he possibly can. Keep his wheel movement to a minimum right there. Coming back out of turn 2 right there. He's hurting on speed right now. I don't think he's going to have much for the pulsars. Let's see what this lap's going to put him at. He's at 186. Yeah, 186 and a half coming down through 3 and 4, back down that double yellow line right there, coming out of 3 and 4. He's probably going to just let it swing up just a little bit so he doesn't, you know, create too much friction between his tires there and the pavement, and come down. He's going to drop it below the apron right there, coming to the checker flag, and he's going to bring it in 48.449. A little bit off from the pole sitter of Chad Coleman with his 48.383, but we'll see him in the duels tomorrow night, looks like, for sure. Next up on track, good looking car. It's a throwback scheme. It looks like a born on date Budweiser car driven by Dale Jr. back in 2005. And this is Michael Priester, the number 64. Somebody we haven't talked a whole lot about before in the Sim500 series, but from what I've heard good things about him. So he's on the clock right now, folks, and he's going to do the same thing we've seen everybody else do, try and keep it down as close as he can to that double yellow line, build up as much of speed as he can coming off of 2 onto the backstretch, but he lost some speed there. He was only hitting 181 coming through 1 and 2 just now, so I'm not sure if he bobbled or what, but tell you what, these cars, you know, they may not look like they're going fast, but when you're doing 185 miles an hour going down the backstretch there, you know, you don't have a whole lot of time to mess around. If you make a mistake, it's pretty much done. So they got to be as smooth as they can and as mistake free as they can on these qualifying runs. So here he comes down across the line. He kept it up above the double yellow. Also 48.514 is probably the slowest lap we've seen sometime today. So he's going to have to hope that somebody else makes a mistake and he gets locked into the duels at least. Our next driver on track is Gabriel Perry in that number 19 car. Kind of an aqua blue and white looking car. Mr. Perry's doing pretty good on his first lap there. Well, that's actually not his first lap. That's his green flag lap, I should say. His on the clock lap, as they call it. But he lost a lot of speed going through 1 and 2 right there. Again, I'm not real sure if he just got a little too close to double yellow line, maybe twitched his wheel just a little bit too much, trying to keep it down low, but he scrubbed off a lot of speed coming through 1 and 2 right there. Looks like he made it up, though, going down that back stretch. He hit 3, doing about 186. Coming through 3 and 4 now. He's going to come on in the back, the front stretch here, coming down to the tri-oval. And let's see if he drops it down below that double yellow line. And he does. That seems to be the preferred line right there on the hot lap. 48.416. Not too bad, not too shabby at all. That locks him in 10th fastest so far of all the drivers we've had making their run. Next up on track is the 10 car. of Dan Denayer. Dan's a long-time sim racer. Dan's on his outlap right now in that 10 car. Looks like it's a Cessna-sponsored blue and white Chevy Camaro. And he's gonna do the same as everybody else. He's gonna try and keep it up as high as he can, the long way around the track, and let him build up as much speed as he possibly can on his outlap, so that when he takes that green flag, he's going as fast as he possibly can. But the key here, folks, like we said, we've seen a few people just lose a lot of speed coming down in 1 and 2 on their hot lap, either just twitching that wheel too much or touching that yellow line like Workman did earlier, and that's something you want to avoid. Don't scrub off any of that speed that you've built up on that hot lap. I mean, the outlap. I mean. So there he is. He's on the clock now. Denayer is. And he's looking pretty good coming down to 1 and 2. Not too bad at all. A little high. Keeps it a little bit high right there. Had almost a half a lane up from the double yellow line coming into the turn. That's not preferred, but at least he didn't lose a whole lot of speed there. Coming off at 2, down the back stretch. I guess they must have a tailwind out there in that back stretch, because they pick up a lot of speed coming off 2, coming down into 3. He's looking good coming down into 3 right there, about 186. Looking good through 3 and 4. Didn't lose too much speed right there. And we'll see what he chooses to do, if he's going to keep it up above the double yellow or duck down like everybody else has pretty much so far today. And he is going to duck down, and he brings it in 48.457. About 4 up from the bottom, so he's going to have to be a little bit nervous. We have, I don't even remember what the car count was, above 50 cars trying to do this today. Ten four. And look who's made it up to the booth, folks. It's our very own Ben Gilcrease. I tell you what, Ben, your car was awfully easy to spot out there. Not only was it by itself, but it's a nice, pretty car.
It's a good-looking car. Too bad we couldn't get it further to the front, but you know, I said if I wasn't feeling the pull, I'd just hit the brakes, and that way put me close to the tail of the duel so I could put on a good show for you guys coming to the front there.
Do you really want to be that far back in the duels, though, my friend?
Well, I actually didn't put on the brakes. I'm really bad at qualifying. So, no, it's, I've got a good feeling in race trim. We should be good come duel time as we get set to go qualifying here in group number 4, I do believe, of the night. And oh my, look at John. We were promised a special paint scheme for Steve Gottschalk, and hopefully our producer can get a good look at this. John, look at Gottschalk. It is the Crayola sidewalk chalk. And I think that's a little diss at you there, Johnny boy.
You think so?
I think so. And he's got "I love SRN" behind the number there,
my
Steve. Great car in the 91 there. Looking.
We're gonna have to track him down. He's done running.
Absolutely, we will. We'll chat with him. I want to say this is the first time he's changed his paint scheme in a number of years, from Nerf to now
I love it.
the Crayola sidewalk chalk. I am a 100% fan of Gottschalk's paint scheme. As we get set to roll him out for qualifying here at Daytona. Maybe we can see if we can get some chalk on the front row here for the Daytona 250 in the Sim500 Transervice Cup Series. Gottschalk getting set to head off of pit road. We're going to take a quick break here to make sure everybody's in line. Gottschalk will be out first in this group, and here he comes. We'll run through the order here in this one. Some heavy hitters: Gottschalk, Robert Gillenwater, Bobby Wetzel, Donnie Leah, Josh Parker, Jose Gonzalez, Scott Stenzel, Chris Caboo, Joey Jatina, and Nick Hurd. 31 through 40. We're officially halfway through. It's still Chad Coleman and Sean Boundy that have the quick time and have locked themselves in to the show. Everybody else is going to go dual racing, and maybe a few are going to have to rely on some provisionals come next Monday. Well, here comes Gottschalk. He's up to speed down into turn number 3 this time by. He'll get the green flag and begin his lap at Daytona.
I love that car. I'm not even going to lie about it.
It's a good-looking car, isn't it?
It really is. I just hope he's fast with it, too.
I wonder if, it is Daytona. If he ends up on the side, would we see a remnants of some chalk marks?
We might want to explain why he did this to some of these folks that don't understand. The reason this is so funny, folks, is when I first started calling these races with Ben in the Sim500 group, I poked a little fun at Steve's last name there. It's obvious what I did there, and this is his payback, I guess you could say, but I'm loving it. I really am.
Well, Steve at Daytona has got chalk all over the side of that car.
Wow,
chalk.
He hit a 187.5 going down through 3. That's really good speed.
He's looking good here on his lap, looking to take possibly quick time, at least the top 2 for the 91 of Gottschalk. Maybe that paint scheme making him fast here at Daytona down to the tri-oval. 409. It's a close one for Gottschalk. A good qualifying effort puts him solidly in the top 5 for now in that number 91. Up next on the racetrack, here comes the number 4. Ain't nothing hotter than this driver. It's Robert Gellenwater.
That's a good-looking car, too, but I'm saying right now, I'm going to make it official. My favorite so far has been the 91 there of Gottschalk. That car was gorgeous.
You think?
And I'm a little particular.
I think everybody's going to be a little biased to Gottschalk, especially here at the Sim Racing Network with the running joke. Let's talk with the driver who's climbed out of the 91 solidly now in the top 5 and a good qualifying effort. Not quite enough to make the top 2, but man, oh man, top 5 and a spectacular looking car, we must say, Mr. Steve.
I'm glad that you guys liked it because I was thinking of you when I had it made.
We couldn't
we
tell.
absolutely love it.
You completely missed me there, Steve.
You have to excuse John. Things go over his head all the time.
I was born blonde after all. Ooh, shots fired.
Did you guys tell the viewers the story behind that?
Yes, I did. I'm just only complaint I've got, Steve, is that you didn't come to me for this paint job.
I wanted to surprise you, man.
I was very pleasantly surprised, my friend. Great run, by the way. Let's talk about that run. Right now, you are squarely planted in that top 5, which, I mean, granted, you're not locked into the big race, but you've got a great starting spot for the duels.
Yeah, thanks. I feel very good about my qual effort. I was hoping for a little bit better, but to be honest, the funny thing was I was more nervous about following all the rules and doing everything right.
I can understand that. I was reading the rules on how this was going to go, and I was slightly confused myself. But as Ben touched on, that's really not that hard to do.
Yeah, I think so far we've all followed the rules pretty good, Steve.
Yeah,
and Parker just hit a 388 dropping Bounty out of the top 2 and putting himself solidly in second spot there. Ben, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you guys off.
No, that's fine. A big moment there for Josh Parker as he's now in the top 2. That bumps Mr. Gottschalk back to 6, but still good starting spot in the duel. Steve, thanks for talking with us, and we look forward to seeing that paint scheme up front tomorrow and next Monday.
Thanks.
Yes, we do.
Look forward to giving you guys the Crayola chalk car. And the SRM.
Hey, thanks again, Steve, for that, man. That just tickled me. That made my whole day right there.
You're welcome. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Yes,
there
sir.
you have it. Steve Gottschalk poking some fun here at us, or poking some fun, here at us at the SRN, and boy, what a
really
great
mainly
guy.
Me, because you guys always ballyhooed, as they say, my joke about his last name. You remember all the groans we used to get from Mitch?
Yeah. And the oh my gods in our area.
Yes.
there was a plenty. Let's see that Scott Stenzel going to put down a 4.25. That'll be good for the 15th position, as the next car on the racetrack is that number 1 of Chris Skaboo. Another good-looking car there. sporting
There are some great looking cars today, Ben.
yeah, sporting the Hitman racewear apparel. My goodness, let me see if I can get this out. The Hitman racewear logo. Yeah, that it is, and it's not moving very fast, as you can tell from my qualifying effort. Got the SRN logo on there as well. We appreciate the love there from Chris Skaboo as he works down the front stretch. That's the back stretch, actually. Man, I am just all crossed up here at Daytona.
You should have heard me on the mic. For those of you that know us, you know I'm better than this. I just woke up. That's my excuse. Ben, his brains are still fried from running the octane fuel down there and breathing all them fumes in.
Not only that, and I was down in Ocala, Florida, before heading up here to Daytona, and didn't get a lot of sleep last night myself either. So, boy, we're all running on fumes today, it seems. As Gaboo puts down a 4.21, that's good for 14th, and up next on the racetrack. Here's the number 14. This is Joey Jatina in another sharp-looking paint scheme, if I do say so myself.
Well, I would have to agree with you only because I'm the one that did that paint scheme. That's a beautiful car, though. That was actually one of I didn't do the design on that. That was one of Joey's older cars that he wanted back, and I was glad to oblige him, and it came out looking real good. I'm particularly loving that big old SRN right there on them quarter panels. How you feel about that, buddy?
Looks great. I love the black around the headlights too. That really offsets the car. Really adds some character to the front. That's a very good looking paint scheme. Yeah, it really is.
He's gonna come out here like a bandit with that pole if he keeps the speed up. He's looking real good down that backstretch.
Good arc down into 3. Jatina was one of those drivers that just said, "Man, I don't know where they're getting the speed from. I can't find it myself." We'll see if he can get it off of turn 4 through the tri-oval. Can Jatina lock himself in? No. It's going to put him a 48.451, and I out-qualified him, so I'll have that to kind of brag about.
Thousandths of a second. Oh, look, it's Cole Trickle.
I was going to say, a bright car. We won't be able to, or you won't miss this one tomorrow night in the duels, and certainly not here in the daytime. It almost hurts your eyes to look at. This is the 46 of Nick Hurd.
I tell you what, though, that car, folks, I'm sure you recognize it for anybody, and I mean anybody that's a NASCAR fan has seen Days of Thunder, and that's one of the cars from that movie. And I like the colors, but my preferential car from that movie, Ben, the one that I loved the most was that black Exxon 51 from the opening scene.
Absolutely, yeah, that was one of my favorites as well. There's a lot of good cars mixed into that movie, including the Wonder Bread car.
The wrong movie. Oh wait, no. Yeah, wrong movie. You came out the night. Oh man, I just woke up. Why are you picking on me like this?
I was seeing if he was paying attention.
Oh my goodness. You know, FYI, I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but Hendricks Motorsports provided all the cars for that movie. That all of Cole Trickle's cars, all of Rowdy Burns' cars, the Hardy's cars, all the main drivers' cars were built and maintained by Hendricks Motorsports.
Wow, I did not know that. Learn something new every day. Up next, here comes.
I looked it up.
Up next, here comes the driver who finished 3rd in last season's championship efforts. Here is Jose Gonzalez, and he gets set to cross the start finish line. He's on the clock, looking to start the year off right at Daytona.
His car is interesting. I will say that.
Yes. Now, there's a lot to look at, especially the hashtag on the quarter panel there.
I just want to make sure I wasn't the only one seeing that.
We've got a Trump 2020 logo.
Speedy Gonzalez,
obviously, going to be on there. And, just a good-looking car, nonetheless. I like the simplicity of it.
Meatball Company on the hood. I'm so hungry right now. It's not even funny.
So Gonzalez, good-looking car. Off turn number 4. We'll see if he can take that good-looking Chevrolet Camaro to the front row at Daytona. Tags the grass. And, oh, man, maybe I should have put it in the grass. A 3.92, not good enough for the top 2, but he certainly lets everybody know he's here.
Wow, I mean, I thought hitting that grass like that was going to hurt him, but apparently it sped him up a wee bit. Andale, ripa. I'm sorry. I did go there.
Bobby Wetzel. We'll change the subject real quickly.
Yeah,
Bobby
let's
Wetzel
do that.
on the racetrack now. And another beautiful number 9 Ford Fusion there, the Valvoline sponsored car as he heads to the back straightaway.
Yeah.
My goodness, that's a sharp looking car. We'll see what Wetzel is going to be able to do on his lap here. Only 20 drivers left after
Only 20.
Wetzel. Maybe less than that. A couple drivers weren't able to make it to the qualifying efforts here this afternoon, so they'll have to start tail end of the duels. But nonetheless, here comes Wetzel off turn number 4 through the tri-oval. Can he get quick time? No, he's going to come close. Well, not really. 15th for a 4.19. Earlier in qualifying, John, a 4.19 was good enough for almost the front row, but boy, we've just seen those times get faster and faster. That's going to do it for this group of qualifying. Let's go silent up here in the booth for just a minute while we get the second one rolled up. We're going to catch our breaths, catch up with some drivers, and see what everybody's got going on in their heads as we prepare for the biggest race of the season, the Daytona 250. Coming up next Monday, you're watching qualifying for it right now. '57 Jeff Sharp making his way out onto the racetrack as the 5th group, I do believe, hits the racetrack. Here comes Jeff Sharp as we get set to go qualifying. 60 cars trying to make the field. Top 2 get locked into the show. The rest have to race their way into the race via the duels tomorrow night. You can catch those live right here on the Sim Racing Network, 8 Eastern, 9 Eastern. Duel 1, 8, Duel 2 at 9. 40 laps apiece. Not a lot of time to make to waste in the duels, so we'll have to see how everybody approaches those ahead of tomorrow night. Here comes Jeff Sharp looking to head down the front straightaway. He'll be on the clock this time by.
So I was under the impression, for some reason, Ben, that only I'm sorry, I don't even know how to word what I was going to try to say. That there was a feeling of not being able to make the duels, I guess is what I was trying to say. So everybody can make the duels pretty much showed up today, correct?
Correct, yeah. Everybody that qualifies, if they don't, if the top 2 are locked in, they're still eligible to race in the duels tomorrow night to get some practice with the draft. But everybody will split the field in two, and then we'll take, I'm not even sure. I'd have to check my notes. I think top 15 out of each duel. We'll confirm that before tomorrow. But nonetheless, everybody that does qualify today is going to make it into the duels. Everybody that starts the duels tomorrow, though, however, will not make it into the 250. A little loose there.
Yes, he was. That
Sharp.
line got him.
Yep. 48441 for Sharp.
Well, thank you for explaining that to me, man. I wasn't real sure how that was going to work tomorrow, but I mean, I know how it works in real life, but they have changed a couple of things up, and I was slightly confused. But thank you for clearing that up. And again, I know it's not hard to do with me, but anyway.
Anyway, moving on. 88.
Moving on.
On the racetrack. We'll bear with you for the time being, John. 88 on the racetrack. That's Nick Solomon in that Kellogg's Chevrolet Camaro.
That's an interesting looking car. With the number 88, I don't know. I was expecting something Hendrix, based modern, but he went with Hendrix based retro, which is good looking.
I really like it. Got the neon lettering on the side with the numbers, and the orange and the blue with the tiger stripes. I really, really like it. Got the milk on the back.
Now I kind of want some Frosted Flake.
Maybe after the broadcast.
Maybe.
Across the line for Solomon. 455. That'll be good for 30th for the driver of the number 88. Here comes Randy Yoakum in the number 8. Good looking car here. Red Chevrolet Camaro. What's the Patriot Fire on the car for Daytona as he gets up to speed down the back stretch? We'll see if Yoakum has anything for the top two.
I believe Patriot Fire is a manufacturer of firefighting equipment like the trucks and whatnot, if I'm not mistaken. I'm digging his 3 on the B post there.
Absolutely. Got Dale Earnhardt on board. Maybe Earnhardt can help him see the air tomorrow in the duels or today during practice.
I tell you what, we were talking about that last night. Some friends of mine, we were watching some old tapes of Daytona, and it was just so much fun to watch Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. really run those plate tracks back in the old days, man. Those guys just, they were amazing to watch.
That they were. And, as bad as I hate to say it, a lot of people hate him. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. really reminds me of the Earnhardts. Just a very aggressive driver. And a lot of people don't like him for his aggressiveness, but John, on these plate tracks, aggressive is what wins the race. And it's really fun to watch Stenhouse nowadays in the current age of NASCAR kind of work the draft. As we'll watch Yoakum, he's working just the air by himself for now, and I was going to wait to confirm, but he'll work the draft tomorrow in the duels, as that puts him 18th with a 4.8423.
You were talking about Stenhouse earlier. I got the pleasure of watching him drive dirt in Mississippi back before he made it to NASCAR. And he said something that stuck with me then, and I've mentioned it a few times in our broadcast. We're out here to race, not to make friends. So,
there you go.
Take that as you will.
And former Rookie of the Year in USCS competition, the series that I work for. So very familiar with the Stenhouse name up around West Memphis and Memphis, Tennessee area. Here comes Michael Keaton on the racetrack in that beautiful number 7 Toyota Camry. Got Piedmont on the car for Daytona as he works his way through turns number 1 and 2 here on the clock lap. Keaton down the back stretch. John, believe it or not, this is one of the fastest drivers in all of practice, and he is looking to be one of the favorites for the pole. So we'll see if Keaton is going to be able to do it. Down in the 3, he really wants to put it on the pole here at Daytona, start the season out right. It would mean so much to the driver behind the wheel of that number 7 machine off of turn number 4. Can he do it down to the stripe? Real smooth lap for Keaton at the line. 3.95. Not going to be able to do it. It's good for 6th. A good effort for Keaton.
Yeah, that's a good-looking car, Ben, and I'm kind of partial to it. Guess who did that one?
If I had to guess, I'd say you. Maybe?
Distinct possibility, yeah.
Good possibility. Here comes one of the championship favorites last season.
Now I'm thirsty.
Had some mix-ups in the playoffs. Got suspended a week, and Boy, he's coming back for Daytona, looking for redemption this season. New team, new era for Anthony DeBarro in that Coors Light Toyota Camry.
Now that is a great looking car, kind of a throwback to Sterling Marlin's day with the Coors Light team. And I tell you what, he's looking fast out there, Ben. He's already up to 186 on the back stretch. 187 going down in 3 and 4. That's what he's looking for. Getting some really good speed heading down into 3 and 4. But he's got to watch and make sure he doesn't scrub too much of it off with wheel movement come to that turn.
Good, smooth line there for DeBarro off turn 4. We'll see what he's going to have here at the line. Can he do it? 398. It's going to be close for DeBarro, but no, not quite quick enough to put him in the top 2. It's good for 7th.
Still a good lap, though. We're starting to see these guys break that 0.4 barrier, as we call it.
Absolutely. Here comes the next driver. Ooh. It's the 13th, and boy, talk about thirsty. Still thirsty after seeing this one. Got the Chase Elliott paint scheme on that number 13 machine, or a Chase Elliott fantasy paint scheme, maybe. That's Dwayne Vincent and that Mountain Dew Chevrolet Camaro.
That is a good-looking car as well. And Dwayne's looking pretty good on that back stretch. He's on his hot lap, so he needs to kind of pick his speed up a little bit more. He's only at 185 right now. He's going to need a little bit more if he wants to bust that top 10.
Boy, did you see how high it was on the back stretch?
Yeah.
He was almost up against the wall, and we'll see if it works for the 13 through 3 and 4. We've seen wilder things so far. We saw one car in the grass with a 392. That was Gonzalez. We'll see what Vincent's going to be able to do. A 4.21, so it puts him 19th on the board so far, and not quite quick enough for the top 2. Here comes the driver who finished 4th in the championship run last season. Made a wild pit strategy call at Homestead to try and win the race, and it bumped him back to 4th, but did everything he could to win the championship. Going to be a contender this season as well in a spectacular-looking car. Here comes the number 2 of Mike Kelly.
That is a gorgeous car, and I'm not even saying that because I painted it. I didn't, but it's still a beautiful car. And he's looking real good there. A little low, though, Ben. He's right on that yellow line. That's going to cost him some speed right there.
We'll see how Kelly does as he works down the back stretch here at Daytona. Man, that is such a great-looking car. Really love the white and the blue and the black all mixed together. For Kelly down in the 3, did you see that little bobble he made there? That may slow him down a little bit as well. And yeah, John, you mentioned he is one of the lowest cars we've seen all qualifying session long. To the front stretch and to the line. Can Kelly put himself into the show? No.
He's way down
39th, yeah. Almost
well, like I said,
the slowest.
Going through 1 and 2, man, he was on double yellow line, and that definitely slows it down. You could see it. He bobbled a little bit there, and then he did it again in 3 and 4, so that really hurt him.
That it did. Here comes one of the favorites, another favorites for the pole. This is the 40 of Trey Edson in that Transervice number 40 Chevrolet Camaro. Another sharp-looking ride there with the yellow and the black and the silver all mixed in. Edson down through 1 and 2. He has been on a tear as of late here in Sim500 competition. Won the trip to Texas in the Joe Gibbs Racing All-Season Sim Series, and now he's looking for a pole at Daytona.
I'll tell you what, he's looking real good, really high on that backstretch again, but look at the speed he carries going down into 3 and 4.
That he does as he works through 3 and 4. Off of turn number 4. He's going to be in Texas in the spring, and we'll see if he can be on the pole in Daytona. At the line, wow. 3.72. Wow. How about that for quick time by Trey Edson, 100th of a second faster than in the rest of the field.
Yeah, the gauntlet's been thrown down right there, man.
Wow, what a run. We'll take a quick break to catch our breath. The final 10 qualifiers are coming up here at Daytona. Trey Edson is on the pole. We'll chat with him in just a moment. So here we go, getting set for the final group of qualifiers here at Daytona International Speedway. You're watching this on the new platform we have here at the Sim Racing Network, SRN's Triple Threat Streaming. You can watch on our Twitch. All you have to do is head to twitch.tv/the Sim Racing Network _, or you can watch live on our Facebook or YouTube. Just go to facebook.com, youtube.com/the Sim Racing Network on both of those. So glad you've tuned in no matter where you're tuning in. Final group of qualifiers set to go out here at Daytona. Trey Edson has made his way down to our pit studio, and we'll talk with him as the driver who puts down a blistering lap, a 48.372 for the driver of the 40. Looking to start the season off right here at Daytona. Trey, you got to slow down and give some of these guys a chance at one point in the season.
Yeah, that was a good lap. I knew I had a shot. We were fast in the few tests we've done, and earlier this morning I actually ran like a 3.67. So I knew I could do it. It's just a matter of hitting your shifting points and being as smooth as possible. I know Chad's a little disappointed. We were down there talking to each other before, but it's good for Transervice. They're new on our cars, so it's a good start for both of us.
Certainly is great supporting the series sponsor and putting it on the pole at Daytona. It's not official yet. Still have 10 more drivers, but that's a great time. You got to be feeling comfortable with that 3.72.
Yeah, no matter what happens, I mean, if somebody goes out there and beats it, like, kudos to you. It was just, it's more so of knowing I can do it, and you put a lot of pressure on yourself to just back it up, you know? I just wanted to run somewhere around what I knew I was capable of. I don't want to screw anything up and then be sitting here like, left all that out there. So, but yeah, if a front row, either way, it's bad. I don't know the full rundown of how we're going to determine the field. I know a lot of us aren't locked in, so if I can just keep it on the front row, then we can have some fun tomorrow night.
Hey, Trey.
Hey, man.
Have you found anybody to go to Texas with you yet?
I hate to, it's not bad news, but I don't know. So my wife and I are expecting our first child around that Texas date.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right. So,
well, if you need a stand-in, I would like to volunteer myself. And if your wife needs a stand-in for the race, I've got my wife. Just get with me after the broadcast here, but.
Right. I paused because Joey was talking in the server, and he said my name, so I was like, oh God, am I in trouble? So I talked to Boris. Luckily, Interstate Batteries, you know, they're obviously a great partner for that series. They are also nice enough. They said I could pick another race that Interstate Batteries is the sponsor for Kyle. So
well, that's fantastic.
Right. So Daytona in July sounds good, or Texas in the fall. So. It's great they were flexible. I was a little worried about that when I won it. I didn't know how that was going to shake out. It was funny. As soon as I took the checker, I muted my headset and I was screaming to my wife. I was like, "Pack your bags, we're headed to Texas." And she's like, "When's the race?" And I was like, "Let me look." And it's literally like a week after she's due. So.
Oh wow.
Right. So.
Well, congratulations on the baby, by the way.
Thank you. It's a little boy, so I'm
congratulations
ready
on
to
that.
meet him.
Well, my name is spelled John.
Oh, my word.
If he's inventing anything for me, it's got to be a 4-letter name, because he probably won't be smart enough to pronounce anything longer.
Well, congratulations on your pole run there, but I'm going to let Ben take over because I think I just got fired for my stupid joke. So.
Trey Edson on the pole as we get back to qualifying here. Trey, thanks for chatting with us. We'll see you later in the event and tomorrow for the duels.
Yeah, man. Anytime. Thanks, guys.
We have a Trey Edson currently on the pole. We had one driver head out during that exchange of trying to
thanks for being nice.
What's the word I'm looking for? Wiggle your way into a trip to Texas. Yeah. Jimmy Coleman put down a 4.10, and Doug Roth is now on the racetrack in number 43. And John, I was going to say, if you're going to go with the 43, you got to go with a Richard Petty themed paint scheme, and that's exactly what he's done. It looks good on that Chevrolet Camaro, and he is looking to put that thing on the pole. A 43 on the pole at Daytona is not out of the question.
Oh, not at all. I would have been disappointed had he not pulled onto the track in a petty car with that number on the side. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We might have had to pull him up here and talk to him sternly.
Here he comes off of turn 4. Can he do it? 4-2-3, not going to. Good for 23rd here at Daytona. And up next on the racetrack, here comes the 09. Boy, we've been thirsty, and now we're getting hungry with the Skittles car as Nigel Standish heads off of corner number 4. Excuse me, that's, corner number 4, my goodness. Down the front stretch, he's now on the clock.
That's a name we haven't talked about a lot in the last few weeks. He was looking really strong in the K&N series for a while there. But I'm telling you what, I am digging that Ernie Irvan throwback scheme right there. That looks great. It really does.
That certainly does. Ernie Irvan had a lot of great-looking paint schemes,
yes,
including the Kodak. You know, just that plain Jane yellow Kodak. I don't know what it is about that car, but it always stood out to me. I really just like the plain Jane look of it. And boy,
maybe because it was out front a lot.
that's true. And the Skittles is also one of those great throwback schemes. A couple fans wondering about the Sim500 pole day graphic there. From third on back, that negative mark is from the leader, not to the second place car. So it is, big wiggle there for Standish across the tri-oval. Up next will be Mike Montesi in the 45. So yeah, from third on back, the difference is not to second, but that's to the pole. So that's what time they're off of the pole, if anybody is wondering. You see Trey Edson there with the 48.372. Chad Coleman, 48.383 is Mike Montesi now on the clock in that number 45. And man, this is another sharp looking, but we have got the paint schemes for Daytona covered, John. A great looking ride here in the 45.
Absolutely. I love, I'm the artist, and I wouldn't say amongst us. I mean, you've done some good stuff too, but I just love paint schemes, man. I love the creativity you see on some of these guys. This Kohler car is amazing. It really is. I am so digging that. It's
really
a very unique look.
Yeah, it is. I love the blue rims, just kind of offset it and really bring the whole scheme together.
I tell you what, he's not looking too bad speed-wise either there, Ben.
Not at all. As he comes through the tri-oval, looking to go quick, and no, it's going to be good for 28th with a 4.38.
Now that would have put him top 5 earlier today. That's crazy.
And now it's got him almost outside of the top 30. Here comes the number 22. This is Nelson Rivera in that Ford Fusion Verizon-sponsored machine. He's going to try and go quick time here at Daytona.
And he's got, I don't know if you can see it or not on your camera there, Ben, but above his door, his name is Mr. Excite. That's it, just Mr. Excite.
Sorry to go quiet on you there, John. Had a technical difficulty on my end, but yeah,
You unplugged
Mr. Excite. Yeah, I got so excited that pulled the microphone cord out of my microphone. Boy, that would have got our executive producer Mitch Rollo all twisted up. Yeah, I like Aaron. He's more calm. He likes our jokes. He laughs at us.
Mitch is probably going to watch this replay and be like, "Those sons of guns."
That's fine. Aaron Grosskopf doing a great job. Got his rig back up and going, producing the stream here for us today at Sim500 Pole Day. He'll be
fantastic job.
Absolutely. He'll be on the buttons again for the Sunday Winter Cup Series finale at Las Vegas. So we're really looking forward to that coming up a little bit later right here on the Sim Racing Network. And then he'll be doing the duels tomorrow. And just a busy week overall for the Sim Racing Network, and a lot of stuff going on. Really looking forward to everything we've got, not only in the coming weeks, but in the future for us here at the Sim Racing Network. Nelson Rivera. Oh, look at that, John. He stays above the yellow line.
And he was all over that yellow line, but I didn't want to cut you off while you're talking, but he had both front and rear lefts all over that double yellow coming through 3 and 4, and his speed dropped down to almost 181 right there. I knew it was going to hurt him.
Yeah, it's got him 47th on the board right now, so Rivera. I'm not going to do it with a 610. That's a couple tenths off. As Eric Arnold in the 31 going to hit the racetrack in that Traverse City Whiskey Company Ford Fusion. Another good-looking paint scheme.
Yeah. Sorry, I was eating candy.
Were you eating Skittles?
No, I was eating chocolate. My wife just gave me chocolate.
I was gonna say if you're in the Skittles, I'm gonna be upset that Standish didn't bring enough for both of us.
I tell
Eric
you,
Arnold.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Eric Arnold on the racetrack. He is one of the final two competitors to qualify for today at Daytona. He heads down the front straightaway, looking to put himself on the clock. Final qualifier coming up next. It's the 33 of Derek Runge. He'll be the last one to go out, last one to set a time. So for now, Trey Edson, Chad Coleman looking pretty good. Chad Coleman is on the bubble. He could be beat. If Arnold doesn't get the top two, then Edson is definitely locked into the show. Coleman still has to survive one more car, so we'll see what Arnold does.
He's looking good coming out in the backstretch here. I'm sorry, was that? Yeah, that was the backstretch. Okay. You and me both get turned around here on the track.
Sleep deprivation from the Sim
That'll
Racing
do it.
Network
That'll do
crew here today. We apologize, fans out there that are kind of, if we're just rambling on. Wow, a good lap there for Arnold. A 397 going to put him ninth. How about that, John? A 397 puts him ninth on the board. Who'd have thunk?
Probably hasn't touched any of that whiskey he's sporting on his car then.
Not yet. Not yet. After that qualifying effort, though, reason to celebrate for sure is Derek Runge, final qualifier on the clock. And as it sits right now, Trey Edson is locked into the 250. Chad Coleman is on the bubble. There in the well, I shouldn't say he's on the bubble. He's in the second spot. He's on the bubble of being locked into the show, rather.
Yeah. That's a good looking car right there. That Under Armour car that he's got with the red and
Certainly
black
is.
carbon fiber. That black is actually carbon fiber. I don't know if it shows up too good on the production there, but looking great right here.
It is. If you get a chance to see it up close and personal, certainly do so. Got TRD there on the quarter panel as well. Toyota Racing Development. Saw a lot of that with the USAC Midgets this past weekend at Raceway Park in Ocala. Nonetheless, final checkered flag of the session. He tagged the grass. Not going to be good enough. And there you have it. The front row is set for the Daytona 250. Trey Edson and Chad Coleman will lead the field to the green flag next Monday night right here on the Sim Racing Network. And how about that for a spectacular qualifying effort, John? A very, very fun show there, and really looking forward to the duels come tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, I am looking forward to those duels, Ben, especially watching you and Mitch wheel around this track. And, hey, this was an entertaining but learning experience for me as well.
Certainly was, as we look forward to seeing everybody later tonight and tomorrow night for the duels. Let's pull not only Trey Edson up to chat with us, but we'll also bring the other driver that's on the front row. So not only one driver, but two drivers now. The front row for the Daytona 250 next Monday night. Trey Edson, Chad Coleman, now with us here in the Sim Racing Network booth. Trey, you talked to us. You said you felt pretty comfortable. Well, now you're probably really comfortable knowing that you're going to lead the field to the green come next Monday.
Yeah, it's cool. This whole process was my idea, I think, with kind of working with Joey. So it worked out well for me. I'm normally not a very good plate racer, but I guess we practice so much here. I kind of figured it out. Plate qualifier, I'm sorry. And Chad, he's a heck of a plate racer. He's always at the front at these restricted plate races. He's won quite a bit. So I might try to stick with him next Monday and keep this thing in one piece.
That's going to be my next question. Chad, you're going to be starting on the outside of the front row. How many laps are you going to let Trey Edson lead before you try and snag it from him?
Hell, as many as he wants to. I'll sit there behind him, and we'll ride around right there. Hopefully Parker can win his can win his duel, and we can all start right there together. Put all three of the Transervice cars up front for Glenn and the company, and we'll ride around and make a show out of it for a little while, and then at the end we'll make a real big show out of it.
Looking forward to it. That's next Monday. Duels are tomorrow. But Trey Edson, Chad Coleman locked into the front row for the Daytona 250. Chad, I'll ask you first. Who do you want to thank for giving you a good car, putting you on the outside front row for the 250?
Gotta thank right now. Gotta thank Glenn and Transervice. I know they weren't on the car for this qualifying session, but that'll be our sponsor headed into the 2019 season when we get kicked off here. We just hadn't had a chance to get a car together yet. Kind of fun to be corporate teammates with Trey and Parker, and thanks to all the guys with Sim500 and SRN, you guys for showing pictures of us driving around in circles. And
it's what we do.
Once again, we can't thank Glenn enough. He put a bunch of money into this deal, and you can hear my phone going off in the background probably. So yeah, that's about all. And congrats to Trey, of course, on the pole. He beat me.
We got Chad Coleman taking care of some PR business, so we'll let him take care of all that. And we'll ask you, Trey, the same question. Who you got to thank for putting you here now on the pole for Daytona 250 next Monday?
Really just it's gonna sound like on repeat, but yeah, Glenn has done. He jumped on board 2 days ago, so it's so Transervice is on board for this season. Can't thank him enough for making it possible for us to race this year, and Joey and Sim500 for putting all this together. I know it was a little different format. It's pretty cool to be part of something different. I always love to do something different, and you guys are a great partner to the league, and you keep doing what you're doing because it's awesome to watch.
Well, there you have it. Pole Center for the Daytona 250 next Monday night. Trey Edson. We look forward to seeing you, Will, that number 40 around Daytona here in a week or so.
Appreciate it.
There you have it. Trey Edson, pole sitter, and Joey Jatina has also worked his way down here to our pit studio. Joey, what a fun day of qualifying here at Daytona. Something new, but really, really fun, not only for us up here in the broadcast team, but me as a driver personally, getting to step down in the car and try and make pole time. I know you had a good run there. By the way, I out-qualified you by 2/1000ths of a second, so just a little brag there.
I
but
knew that was coming.
But nonetheless, a very fun day here at Daytona.
Yeah, I just want to jump up and thank you guys. It sounds like we got to hit Chad Coleman some lessons on how to pronounce his sponsor's name, but I just want to come up and thank Transervice Logistics so much. This is our second year as sponsoring the Transervice Cup Series, Chad Coleman, and we're excited to have two Transervice Logistics cars on the front row. I'm not sure if they're the same manufacturer or not, but it's awesome. And guys, we just took a little page out of what you guys do for the Hometown Heroes Series. So again, kicking off 2019, we got the Clash. It's raining, so what better than to pull this off tonight? So thank you all so much, Ben, John, Aaron, for everything y'all have done up here, and congratulations to Trey Edson on grabbing the pole.
Hey, Joey, I have a quick question for you.
Go ahead.
Is the way you guys have this set up tomorrow night? I'm guessing that you and Ben won't be starting next to each other in the duels.
I don't know. We have to sit down now because the way we're doing this in practice, it doesn't break down who's where. I guess I could go in. Well, never mind. It's odd and even. So however that broke down, I don't know what place I qualified. It was so bad I didn't even look. I don't even care.
I was going to say, if you want to just go ahead and spin him on the early laps and get it out of the way, I'd appreciate that.
Well, John, the thing is, I've put a lot of work into the Sim500, as you know, and so has the whole admin team. And before I go, I've got to thank my guys, Bobby Wetzel, Chris Caboo, and Michael Keaton. I mean, Bobby Wetzel controlled pit road tonight for us, or today. We've never done this before. Our drivers have never done this before, to my knowledge. And Bobby and the guys just did a great job, so I want to thank them. But no,
absolutely.
back to the qualifying races tomorrow night. I'm scared to death, because I may not make my own race. So I didn't build
What?
a provision. I didn't build a provisional in for myself. So maybe that's something I need to rewrite some rules real quick to make sure the 14's in tomorrow night.
It's going to
I
be
got
fun.
faith in you, brother. I got faith in you.
Gonna be fun nonetheless. You can see the duels tomorrow night right here on the Sim Racing Network. That'll do it for qualifying. Here we'll be live a little bit later tonight for the season finale in the Sunday Night Winter Cup Series. That'll be live right here again in our triple thread streaming service at the Sim Racing Network. Got to thank Joey, everybody at Sim500, everybody at Transervice Logistics for coming on board for the Cup Series yet again this season. It's going to be a fun one. And the season now officially underway as qualifying complete. Trey Edson, Chad Coleman going to lead the field to the green flag in race number 1. For John Mushton and Aaron Grosskopf, I am Ben Kilcrease. That'll do it for Pole Day at Daytona. We'll see you tomorrow night when these cars hit the track again for the duels right here on the Sim Racing Network. We'll see you a little bit later on from Las Vegas. Remember, when you're out there on the roads, put that phone down. Good evening. Or good afternoon, I should say, from Daytona.